Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some have seen a Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac show. I said cognac, ooh, ooh. I said cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm your bubbly blonde, fabulously dressed.
Welcome back. I'm Cognac Wellerlane, and we are here at the Sayre Barn, this historical building, and it's their grand opening after it's been actually renovated for a whole year. And I'm talking to a very famous photographer that took advantage of the situation and photographed the barn before it was decomposed and rebuilt again. Introduce yourself to the camera.
Yeah, my name is Ulf Skogsbergh, and I do photography and photograph the objects that used to be just helter-skelter stored in the barn, and the barn itself, and before it was taken apart and reconstructed.
Now, what made you want to take on this project? What was so special about this whole thing that's happening here today?
Well, history, of course. I like photographing objects, and the patina and age of these objects tell stories.
And they're pretty old, some of these objects that we're looking at. How far back do they go?
I think early 1800s at least, and some of them were tools that were used for agriculture at that point. And other parts are what they used to construct the barn back then.
Now, tell my audience how many these are all photographs. Am I right about that? How many photographs are we looking at right now in the barn?
Well, I think there are around 30. I haven't actually counted them.
And it's all from the very beginning of when this project had undergone taking it apart and reconstructing it. Last fall. Now, I understand that your work is very famous in Europe.
I like to think so.
Tell my audience some of the places where your art can be seen in Europe as well as here in the United States.
Well, London, Geneva, etc. But I used to do also commercial photography for advertisers, but then you would photograph things like jewelry or product.
Right. I know somebody that does that.
Yeah. And
This is a lot more interesting, right?
I think so.
Some of these pieces are just the way you captured the photography is just amazing.
Well,
Really?
It sort of it tells the story of the barn at the time when the barn was in use, and a lot of the underlying concepts and work that they did back then. And so that's the interesting part.
That's the very interesting part. It's a beautiful barn, and of course this barn, I'm sure is going to be used for many, many events and many functions now in the new year coming.
Yeah, starting with an art show to introduce it.
Absolutely. Now tell me, where is your next project taking you to?
Oh, not sure yet.
You're not sure yet.
No.
But if we could,
I think I'll take a breather.
I think you should. You did a lot of hard work with this particular barn. Now tell my audience, if we want to find out more information about you, do you have a website? Can we follow you on Facebook?
Well, I do have a work I did with my wife, and I have chickens, and I started photographing the and so my name is Ulf Skogsbergh, and there's an ulfskogsberg.com that show the feather work that I do.
Can we follow you on Facebook too?
No, I'm not on Facebook.
You're not on Facebook. Well, we'll just have to go to your website,
That's true.
and that's ulfskogsberg.com.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And we'll be back in a moment, darlings, with more interviews right here at the Sayre Barn. Keep watching. Pink Champagne Kisses.
I want to thank all of you. Some of you are here. This is a significant contribution. I want to thank somebody who's not here, Glenna Elizabeth Jagger, who he left in her estate when she died 2 years ago. She left enough money to get this off the ground. So, Glenna, wherever you are, thank you very much. Pass the microphone to Mayor Epley.
Hi, guys. Just on behalf of the Village Board of Trustees and all the, okay. I get Tom up here to interpret for me, right? There you go. Now, this has been an incredible venture between the village and the Historical Museum, and we've accomplished a lot here. And I just wanted to thank the Parks Department, the Buildings Maintenance Department, and the Highway Department for their support here. Gary Gillespie is the Superintendent of Public Works, and Steve Funch, who's our village administrator. Those guys have done a great job. And, you know, Tom had asked me, he said about 60 years ago in 1954, the Diamond family donated the Billboard Barn, as it was known then, to the recently opened grounds of the Rogers Mansion. This was a joint venture between the villages of Southampton and the Southampton Historical Museum. And they actually rolled the barn right down Main Street. There's some great pictures, one log at a time, just pushing it down Main Street. It was on the corner of Main Street and Hampton Road, and brought it down here to its resting place. And it was in horrible shape then, and you guys have done an incredible job. What a great gift to this community. So on behalf of everyone, I really want to thank you guys. And finally, I want to thank Tom Edmonds for the job that he's done here.
I'm Cognac Wellerlane, and I am here with the museum director, Mr. Tom Edmonds, for the grand opening of the Sayre Barn. This is a very exciting day right here in Southampton. And Mr. Edmonds is going to explain all about this event. Tell my audience what's really happening this afternoon.
Where should I begin? In 1825, the barn was built for animals, and it was located at the corner of Hampton Road and Main Street, a really busy corner. When the village started to expand in 1954, the Diamond family donated the barn, and it was moved onto the property using logs, one after another, just like the stones were moved for the pyramids in Egypt.
Interesting.
So very old-fashioned. So it was put on the ground. It's an animal barn. It wasn't meant to hold carriages or anything but cows and horses. So there was open earth, and over the last 60 years, this is the 60th anniversary of this barn being on the property. It soaked up all the water. When I came here in 2006, it was not safe for the public, so I closed it. And then it took me 4 or 5 years to get enough donations from the community to rebuild it. So it's actually not a restoration, it's a reconstruction.
Okay.
And so last year we started taking it apart, and if you come in, you can look at the ceiling and you can see the beams were cataloged, just like objects are cataloged in any museum. So it was meticulously put back together by Baxter Strata Build, the contractors, and here we are today. The photographs, you interviewed Ulf already, I believe.
Oh, he's a marvelous gentleman, and so his work is just amazing.
Well,
Every single piece here is just beautiful.
there's a photograph here of the panorama of the barn before it was taken apart. That's on the other side of this beam here.
I took that. I took a picture of it.
And you can see every object. That horseshoe is in that picture. These nails are in that picture. So it's almost like a Find Waldo game. But Ulf, he really makes the exhibit because of his detailed focus on individual objects that were inside the barn. So I think he's transformed the Sayre Barn from a reconstruction into a fine art piece.
Now, this really had to be done for preservation reasons. Am I right about that?
Oh, sure. In two ways. For the barn, because we could have let it fall down.
That would be
Very
unfortunate.
sad, right?
Yes.
That's a very sad thing to do. So we spent a lot of time and money rebuilding it, and then Ulf took it another level just by focusing on the individual things that were here. We're not putting the objects back. This is going to stay open as a community center. We'll have dances, we'll have
That's
lectures,
wonderful.
we'll have
That's
children's
really
programs.
wonderful.
So it's going to be a multi-purpose interior.
This sounds really wonderful. And I want you to tell my audience where we can find out more information about the Southampton Museum and the barn and everything that goes with the Southampton Historical Society.
Go to our website, southamptonhistoricalmuseum.org. It's a typing test, but it's worth it. And Cognac, thank you very much
And
for
thank
interviewing
you.
me and helping us.
And we'll be back in a moment, darlings, with more interviews right here in the Hamptons. Keep watching Pig Champagne Kisses.
Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac Show. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm a bubbly blonde, fabulously dressed to impress. One of a kind girl. It's been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.